Hello, class, and welcome to day 2 of the ecological footprint unit. All right, today we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about water purification. This is all leading towards our big goal of creating our very own water purification unit. We talked yesterday about how we could conserve some water and how we learned about our different, needs as far as humans and how big our ecological footprint. And a lot of it has to do with water consumption. Water needs to be purified before we can even drink it. So the basic definition of water purification is the process of removing undesirable chemicals, biological contaminants, suspended solids, and gases from contaminated water. All right. The goal of this process is to produce fit water for a specific purpose. All right. So the water that comes from Lake Michigan, that water is disinfected for human consumption for the most part, which is our drinking water. But you could also use it in a variety of other purposes. Um, Water needs to be even more purified, for example, in a medical setting or a pharmacy setting. All right, you're going to find some sort of multi-million-dollar machine at any hospital that is purifying water. So they have the water, brought in like any other household with a pipe, and then from there it's going to go through a machine that's going to clean it up, to a higher degree that our water is even close to being. All right, then you're going to find water being purified in chemical and industrial applications as well. All right, so for some sort of laboratory, they're going to want some very pure water when they're running tests because they don't want anything like that to ruin their test. And then for the industry, all right, for manufacturing, you're not going to want water with like some sort of chlorine in it like we have in our water, our drinking water. So they have cleaners as well, or purifiers to purify their water as well. So what is unpurified water? All right, unpurified water is raw water. All right, and raw water could contain suspended particles like sticks and dirt and rocks and something like that. Then you have some parasites, bacteria, algae, viruses, fungus, and other materials that come from falling rain. So raw water is actually very dirty and undrinkable. That's why if you were ever to watch any of those shows on Discovery Channel or History Channel, when those guys are trying to survive out in the open, a lot of the times they want to boil their water, or they're going to look at the water and they're going to see it's not coming from a running stream. They're not even going to touch it, all right? Because all of these are growing, all these items are growing inside the water, all right? And these could cause you to have very bad symptoms, especially if you're out in the wild and you drink this water. All right, one that comes to mind right now, if you were to try to drink salt water, okay, you would end up being very dehydrated. Or if a parasite causes your body to get sick, all right, you might end up having diarrhea or something like that. You'd end up being dehydrated as well. All right, so drinking bad water is not good for you. So what are some processes that we could use to treat the water? All right, at first we need to screen it. Okay, so before we can even put it in our actual unit, we need to screen it, and this is going to get rid of those sticks and leaves and other debris that could have been collected in our raw water sample. After that, we're going to use soda ash to remove the calcium carbonate. Our water really doesn't have a big amount of calcium carbonate in it, but we will have a little bit of soda ash to check out, but I'm actually not going to have you guys put that inside of your unit. And if you look down there at the picture, this would be a very easy way to remove all the large objects. If you notice, they have some sort of box with a screen in it, and they're shooting water through it. Okay, so that's cleaning up all the debris out of there. Next is the filtration process. Okay, so we have rapid sand filters, which move vertically through the sand and has a layer of activated carbon. Okay, so inside of your actual unit, you're going to need carbon. All right, and I'll show you what the carbon looks like a little bit later, but that's going to remove a lot of the toxins in the water. Next, you're going to send it through a sand filter, okay, and you're going to have different layers of sand and gravel, okay, so different grits. So you're going to start off with a very coarse gravel, and then you're going to move to a very fine sand, and this is going to allow the water to sink through and filter. Okay, getting rid of more and more toxins. Every single step is going to get rid of something else in the raw water. And we'll learn about how to get rid of some of the other objects later on. So the final step in our treatment is going to be the disinfection. Okay, so just because we got it to look clear and it doesn't have any sticks or any type of mud or anything like that, it doesn't mean it's drinkable yet. Okay, first we have to boil it. So we're going to boil it hot enough to kill microorganisms, all right, that live at our room temperature. So we're going to get rid of some of that bacteria and algae and all that stuff. And then the last step, that's going to be adding the chlorine. Okay, so we're going to add a small amount of chlorine bleach after to the final product. But does that mean that our product is safe? Absolutely not. Okay, we're going to use a couple different types of samples to test after we add the chlorine. And we're going to see if any of them are safe before we drink it. Okay, and a test kit that I bought, all right, I'll show you a little bit later what it looks like, will be used to test the water. Okay, and you can buy these in any hardware store. So if you're ever worried later on when you own your own house, if you think your water is contaminated, you can always buy one of these test kits. Okay, so at this time, what I want you to do is log into your Edmodo account, and we will continue from there.